What's up, guys? Emilio back again, and of course with another exciting theory on Dragon Ball Super. So, ever since Goku brought Future Zeno into the present timeline, we have all wondered, what might happen with there being two Zenos present? Was it actually smart for Goku to bring Future Zeno to the present timeline, and will there be negative outcomes? In this video, I will discuss the positive and negative outcomes of the butterfly effect, and how Goku's decision to bring Future Zeno into our timeline benefited and could eventually haunt the Z Fighters down the road. Alright, let's jump right into it. Ever since the Android arc took place in Dragon Ball Z, we were introduced to the theory of the butterfly effect, where Trunks traveled in the past in order to give Goku an antidote so he could survive the heart virus and warn the others of the androids. Although Trunks had good intentions for the present timeline, he still caused a butterfly effect. In Dragon Ball Super Episode 49, they introduced two major story elements revolving on the concept of time. Whis talked about the butterfly effect and how it affects the flow of time, and Dragon Ball Super showed us how Trunks' future was entirely different from the present when Trunks stopped the resurrection of Majin Buu. So in this video, I will explain the butterfly effect and give a nice classic example on how it works, without using any fancy mathematical equations or formulas. I will also explain how it could still affect the future of the present timeline with there being two Omni Kings present. So, what is the butterfly effect? Well, for those of you that do not know, the butterfly effect is a concept that was formulated by American meteorologist and mathematician Edward Norton Lorentz. It is also known as the chaos theory, where one small change in the starting condition of an event, such as the flutter of an innocent butterfly soaring through the sky, can have a dramatic effect on the outcome of an event, like cause a tornado on the other side of the world, or less dramatic, cause a plane to experience turbulence. I think Toriyama decided to introduce the butterfly effect into Dragon Ball because it is an interesting theory on how every single event in reality is a result of a past action. So it is a good way to keep showing how past events can create new storylines in Dragon Ball. I'm going to give you guys a quick example of the butterfly effect that I personally came up with, along with a classical example. So, let's say I went back in time to pick the right lottery numbers so that I could win $1 million. By simply becoming the winner of $1 million instead of the person that was destined to be, my choice in numbers would have caused a butterfly effect, and history would have been different by either a small or large degree, and depending on how many lives the other person would have influenced with that kind of cash. Even when Trunks did something so little as giving Goku a heart virus antidote, that small event ended up changing the course of history to the point where the androids became much stronger than they were in the future timeline, along with Cell appearing, who became a bigger threat. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys a good and classic example of the butterfly effect, which is about a famous soldier named Henry Tandy, who is known for being a British hero during World War I, but was also the same guy who did not shoot Hitler, and as a result, World War II happened years later. In a weird way, this sort of reminded me of when Kid Goku took out the Red Ribbon Army, but never eliminated the main threat, aka Dr. Gero, who would later hunt him and the Z Fighters down the road. So I guess in a weird way, Dr. Gero is the Hitler in Dragon Ball, since Tandy and Goku never eliminated these villains when they had a good chance to. But going back to the story. In 1918, Henry Tandy bumped into Hitler in a French village. When a wounded Hitler walked into his line of fire, Henry decided against shooting him before young Hitler nodded at him and walked away. Had he shot him, Hitler would have not been the driving force behind World War II, and it's anyone's guess what might have happened. World War II would have surely been different, and it may or may have not started, which may have been for better or for worse, because that would have had a knock-on effect on your ancestors, who you may have never met because of the fact that World War II never took place or had a different outcome, thus resulting in you never being born. So think about this. If someone traveled in the past and changed Henry's mind to pull the trigger, although a war may have still happened anyway, 60 million people may have not died. So think of those 60 million people that died. They could have gone on to have children, some of which they could have been the next Einstein or world-changing visionaries, all because one man decided against pulling the trigger. So as you can see, one small change can have a major ripple effect on the rest of the world, even if it seems like it's not a big deal. But anyway, in Dragon Ball Z, because Trunks showed up on Earth warning Goku and the others of the androids, he created a butterfly effect, and not only made the androids more powerful, but also helped Cell to appear on Earth. In reality, Goku was not supposed to be alive because of the heart virus, which would result in Beerus not waking up, Goku Black not appearing on Earth, and for the rest of Super to not take place. But now that a lot of the major problems that took place from the butterfly effect have been resolved, a new one that not many people thought of at the end of the Goku Black arc may still occur, and that is due to having 2 Zenos in our present timeline instead of 1. So what does this mean? Well, as I mentioned before about the butterfly effect, on how one small change can have such a devastating or positive outcome to the present timeline. Goku bringing Future Zeno to the present timeline so that present Zeno could have a friend that he would like more than Goku was a smart way to fulfill Goku's promise, because let's be real, the last time Zeno was really angry, he erased universes 13 through 18. So in that scenario, there was a positive outcome. However, there could also be negative outcomes, which will be the basis of this theory. During the end of Super, there was a surprise that was easily missed, and that was when all the universes that were erased in the Tournament of Power were brought back along with Frost. Now if you guys remember, Frost was actually erased separately, so it makes you wonder if anything else other than Frost was brought back from 17's wish. 17 did say, please restore all of the universes that were erased, so that could also include the erased 6 universes and other possible villains like Frost. Now the big question is, with Future Zeno being present in our timeline, does that mean that whatever Future Zeno erased also got brought back? We did see both Zenos erase all the universes that lost during the tournament, and because Super Shenron has limitless wish capabilities, he could have also brought back everything Future Zeno erased. Since Toriyama is an advocate of the butterfly effect theory, I am theorizing that Toriyama will give us a future negative outcome with Future Zeno being present in our timeline. It would make for an interesting story if, because Future Zeno is still present in the timeline, that a butterfly effect occurs, resulting in a new villain appearing from either one of the 6 forgotten universes from Trunks' timeline, or possibly a villain that was so powerful that even the gods of destruction and angels had trouble dealing with. And the only entity that was able to put a stop to the villain's unmatched power was Zeno's erasure technique. Now I know the future Trunks timeline being brought back along with the past villains sound a bit far-fetched, so I want to go more into that since it would make for an interesting story and because there is more to go off of. First, let's talk about a powerful villain that Zeno maybe had to erase in the past. We learned at the end of the Goku Black arc that Beerus and Whis have a special godly device that can seal away immortal beings and that is more effective than the Mafuba. So what if Whis and Beerus, or some other gods and angels from another universe, were forced at some point in the past to seal away powerful demons or immortal gods, and out of all the villains that they had to defeat, there was one that was way too powerful to simply seal away. So the only chance they had was to get Zeno to erase the evil being. We do know from the manga and anime that it is said that Daishinkan is considered to have one of the top 5 battle powers in the multiverse. So, what if a villain was among one of those top 5 fighters and was actually erased by Zeno because he posed as a massive threat? It would certainly make for an excellent arc or movie, and with 17 making a powerful wish from Super Shenron, there is no telling what he could have brought back that will haunt the Z Fighters and all the gods down the road. Now, another possibility is with Future Zeno being present in our timeline, while 17's wish was made, it could have affected the present and future time continuum to a big degree. Because the Future Zeno partook in erasing the universes with present Zeno, it is possible that whatever Future Zeno erased could have also been brought back. When Future Zeno erased Zamasu, it is possible that he could have been brought back along with other entities that he has had to erase in the past. Now, I know this sounds a bit crazy, but there is a reason why the gods forbid time travel and why Toriyama introduced the theory of the butterfly effect into the show, even though the Cell and Goku Black arc were confusing to many. Also, I know in the past I have made a separate video on how Zamasu could be alive, but with the way the Toei writers have directed the Tournament of Power arc, I no longer believe that Zamasu survived Future Zeno's Erasure Blast. So if that is the case, then it is possible for Zamasu to be alive with 17's wish. So, if Toriyama does decide to take that route, he could indeed bring Zamasu back in a future arc or movie to show as a consequence of Goku bringing Future Zeno into our timeline. And as much as I like Zamasu as a villain, I would still prefer that they bring in a new powerful villain, or maybe both. That would still be cool. So if they did bring in this new powerful villain that had a dark past with the angels and gods, who was also ranked among those who have had the top 5 battle powers in the multiverse, it would make for a really awesome arc or movie. One thing we do know for certain is Toriyama did insist, as he usually does when he makes his outlines for Toyataro, to make 2 Omni Kings for the Dragon Ball Super manga chapter 26. We also know that Toriyama loves using the butterfly effect theory to create Dragon Ball storylines, so why not use it again? And when you think about the butterfly effect, Dr. Gero technically saved us all since 17 won the Tournament of Power and made a selfless wish. One last thing that I would like to talk about is the relationship of the 2 Zenos. So both Zenos act and behave the same, they seem to get along so far, and appear to like each other because they are indeed the same entity. The only subtle difference is that one is left-handed and the other is right-handed. As I have broke down in 2 separate videos, Future Zeno is left-handed and present Zeno is right-handed, as we have seen them both point many times and even once at each other to show a subtle difference. Every time the present Zeno raises his dominant right hand, the future Zeno raises his left, and then switches it out to mimic the present Zeno, which actually does bring many questions. And one of those questions is, with the 2 Zenos having slight differences, is it possible that they may one day argue? Another question is, if they both somehow get mad at each other, could they actually erase each other? And what would happen to the remaining universes without a king of all? Well, the truth is we do not know the answer yet, but can only speculate that a new ruler would want to take their place if they end up destroying each other. And the new ruler could either be the Grand Priest, one of the top 5 fighters in the multiverse, one of the gods of destruction, if the angels cannot become a ruler of all, a new villain, or hell, maybe even Frieza if he gets a major plot armor ass pull. If it is a villain that wants to take the throne and the only person that could have stopped him was Zeno, then the blame would all fall back on Goku again for causing a butterfly effect. Either way, I am curious to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think Toriyama is planning down the road with 2 Omni Kings? Does he actually have a plan, or will he forget about that plan? Do you think that Goku started another butterfly effect by bringing Future Zeno into the present timeline? And will 17's wish resurrect a villain that the gods have had trouble dealing with in the past? Or, with Future Zeno being present during the wish, will Zamasu be the one to come back in the future? And, would you guys like to see a Dragon Ball Super arc or movie with a villain that has one of the top 5 battle powers in the multiverse? I certainly would, but I am always interested to read your responses in the comment section below. And remember guys, anything can happen in Super. So I hope you all have an awesome day, and I'll catch you next time.